This morning, heavy rain flooded roads and triggered mudslides up and down the state of California, killing 6. And the EPA is rolling back a major Biden-era water regulation, a move that shifts more authority and states and landowners.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Neely Green here with you on this Tuesday, November 18th. The time is now 4:59. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmel for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, I said yesterday I wasn't as bundled up as I was yesterday in the morning leaving my house, and today I definitely was. I definitely had sweatpants and a big jacket on and a blanket.
Yeah, I was definitely bundled up as well, and I'm still cold. That's still my forecast. It's cold outside. Make sure you are wearing your layers. It will be important to do so. Here's a look at those temperatures this morning, mainly a mixture of the low 30s. You'll notice a couple of low 40s out and about, 42 in Jackson, 42 in Monticello. But again, for the most part, we're looking at those 30s, and it is chilly, so keep that in mind. Now, as we head into the afternoon, here's a look at the breakdown of our high temperatures. What you're going to notice is it will be cooler for our more northern counties. That's because they're starting to get a lot of that rain this morning, and we'll continue to see rain throughout the day, limiting the amount of warmth they can see. So the farther north you travel, we're looking at those low to mid 50s. The farther south you travel, you're looking at chances for mid to upper 60s for some folks. 68 is that high in Monticello. And here's a look at that rain right now, seeing some of that heavier rain as you travel more towards our northern counties this morning. Neely.
All right, Megan, thank you. In Perry County, police say stealing road signs is becoming a bigger issue. The fiscal court posted on social media that they have experienced a major increase in road sign thefts throughout several areas of the county. They say as a result, they will increase monitoring in some locations, and those caught could face legal consequences. Hundreds of immigration agents descended on Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend, pulling people from shopping centers and moving in on a landscaping crew putting up Christmas lights. It's all part of the government's latest immigration enforcement action called Operation Charlotte's Web. Data shows violent crimes in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area is down 20% compared to last year. And in Washington, the House is expected to vote today on the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and it's expected to have at least the 2/3 majority needed to pass. A bipartisan group was already pushing towards this vote when President Trump Sunday changed his position and said he now supports releasing the files, though he still says the Epstein issue is a hoax.
I think the public has the right to know.
This isn't about President Trump. I mean, this is about women who are seeking justice and finally getting it.
Questions about the president's ties with Epstein were renewed last week after the release of emails from the late convicted sex trafficker and one-time Trump friend. The president has said they had a falling out more than a decade ago, and he had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes. President Trump called for an investigation of former FBI James Comey, which led to his indictment for allegedly lying to Congress. But Scott McFarland reports that the case is now hanging by a thread after a federal judge said there is evidence of misconduct by the Justice Department.
In a blistering opinion today, a federal judge in Virginia accused Department of Justice prosecutor Lindsay Halligan of misconduct, saying there was a, quote, disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps, including what happened behind closed doors when Halligan presented James Comey's criminal case to a grand jury in September. Like statements by Halligan suggesting Comey would have to testify in his case.
I think what the judge wants to know is what exactly did she say to the grand jury? And did she, in fact, misstate the law and potentially mislead the grand jury as it was making its decision to approve this indictment?
The judge also accused Halligan of using old evidence seized from a search warrant in a separate case to convince grand jurors to charge Comey, rather than seeking a new search warrant in a race to avoid breaching the 5-year statute of limitations. Trump installed Halligan after ousting the previous U.S. attorney because he would not go forward with a case against Comey, arguing there was a lack of evidence to do so.
The U.S. Attorney's Office is defending itself, saying the judge might have misconstrued some of what Lindsay Halligan said when she made the case to the grand jury. Halligan, who was a Trump White House aide just 2 months ago, has never served as a prosecutor before. There's a hearing in the case set for Wednesday in Virginia. Scott McFarland, CBS News, New York.
In East Tennessee, wildfires are causing some concerns. The National Weather Service says it's because of low humidity and gusty winds. Crews have been fighting several active wildfires, including in Claiborne County. Officials strongly recommend you avoid burning leaves or other materials right now. Millions in California are bracing for another round of severe weather after weekend storms left a muddy and wet mess. Heavy rains flooded roads and triggered mudslides up and down the state. Dozens in Southern California had to be rescued from rising water. The weather is blamed for at least 6 deaths statewide. For Los Angeles, it's the wettest November in 40 years, and the month is only half over. The EPA is rolling back a major Biden-era water regulation, a move that shifts more authority to state and landowners. The agency announced a new proposal Monday to revise the Waters of the United States rule, also known as WOTUS. The change more clearly defines which waterways are federally regulated and which fall under state control. The rule has been in place since the Nixon administration to protect wetlands, streams, and navigable waters.
We're adding a new exclusion for groundwater and revising exclusions for certain ditches, prior converted cropland, and waste treatment systems.
What's at risk here is the drinking water for millions of people, wetlands that protect millions of people from flooding.
The EPA says the revision will give landowners more certainty, while opponents warn it could weaken water protections. A 40-day public comment period is now open. Yesterday, the Federal Aviation Administration lifted its flight reductions at 40 airports around the country. The FAA cut the numbers of flights at these airports by at least 4% days ago because of the federal government shutdown. The shutdown impacted the air traffic control system. Some controllers did not show up to work during the shutdown, citing child care needs or because they had to take a second job since they were not being paid. Grocery stores in West Virginia say they are seeing a sharp rise in sales thanks to the full restoration of SNAP benefits. The food fair in West Hamlin saw a 30% increase in sales. This is after some stores say they saw sales drop from 20 to 30% prior to the SNAP funding issues. Scott Wamsley and Jeremy Wright own 4 grocery stores in the state, and they say they can already see a difference in their employees and their customers.
And from a morale standpoint, we could sense the excitement from our employees. They were happy because a lot of uncertainty there, and they also echoed that. They could sense the relief upon the customers coming in.
Kentucky SNAP benefits got back to normal Saturday morning. The Ohio Department of Job and Family Services say they expect to release full benefits in Ohio by the middle of this week. There's a special election on a Powell County school tax levy next week, and early voting starts this Thursday. Early voting will be conducted on November 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and polls will be open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day at the Powell County Extension Office. The special election will take place on November 25th. The polls will be open that day from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Well, thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News This Morning. A group of teens has created a new device that could help detect lung cancer in a way that's cheaper and faster. We'll have those details.
And it is a First Alert Weather Day. I'll tell you what you could expect coming up.